Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Michelle Landsverk, and I'm Director of Advanced Thief River. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome you this morning to the first meeting of Two Rivers Entrepreneur Connection, or TREC. TREC is a monthly gathering of entrepreneurs, mentors, advisors, and others to educate, engage, and connect entrepreneurs. Our organizing team picked the name TREC because we know the road to being a successful entrepreneur is not a sprint, it's a trek. And we're here to be a strong partner with you on your entrepreneurial journey. So just a few things about this meeting this morning and the meetings to come. Everyone is welcome. These meetings are open to anyone interested in hearing, supporting, and connecting with our area's entrepreneurs. There are no attendance requirements. There are no membership fees. The gatherings are run by entrepreneurs and for entrepreneurs. Each month, we're going to feature a couple of speakers, and one is going to be a seasoned entrepreneur, somebody who's been at it a little bit longer, and then someone who's maybe a little bit earlier in their journey, what we call an emerging entrepreneur. Meetings will be held the first Tuesday of each month at 9 a.m. So you can mark your calendars right now for November 3rd. That will be our next meeting. I'd also share a few housekeeping things with you. Obviously, this first meeting is being held via Zoom. We do hope to move to in-person meetings as soon as we can, but that's kind of to be determined. We'll let you know, so just stay tuned on that. With the Zoom platform, first of all, you need to know this session is being recorded, so if you're making any comments or questions, just keep in mind that we're recording this, so just be mindful of that. Second, to allow for the fullest interaction possible, we encourage you to use your camera. And I see most everybody's using their camera. If you're not able to use your camera, that's fine. You'll still get something out of this. You'll be able to watch everybody else. But unfortunately, we have some door prizes and some kind of interactive games. You may not be able to participate in those as fully. So if you can turn your camera, we would encourage you to do that. Also, if you have background noise, we encourage you to mute yourself. Depending on the platform you're on, whether you're on a PC or on a tablet or phone, you have some controls. And if you move your mouse or your finger around your screen, you'll probably see a mute, unmute somewhere. You also might see a more button, and with the more button you might have the options to change what you're seeing on your screen. You'll get the most out of this session if you use the gallery view. If you use the gallery view, you'll be able to see everybody, and just to kind of help us connect with each other, we think that's important, so we would encourage you to do that. If you have a question during our presenters times, well, we're going to have a Q&A after each presenter. But if you do have a question, you might just want to put it in the chat box, or just say, hey, I have a question, and then we'll call on you. Either way, that way we don't have people talking over each other, and we can keep the quality of the audio good. So at this point, I am very happy to introduce you to my friend, Angie Westling. I've just gotten to know Angie really, well, I've known her before then, but we've gotten to know each other a little bit more as we've been working with TREC. And Angie was born and raised in Thief River Falls and is proud to call Thief River Falls her hometown. After finishing college and living in the Twin Cities for a few years, she decided she wanted to come back to Thief River Falls, to be in that same amazing town where she grew up to raise her family. She's been an entrepreneur for more than a year, and she's excited to connect with as well as encourage new entrepreneurs through TREC. So with that, Angie, take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Angie Westling, and like Michelle said, I've been an entrepreneur for a little over a year now, and super excited for this TREC that we're all going on. And we've been working as a huge team trying to get this TREC up and running. So I'm going to introduce the team and let them kind of tell you why they're excited about this as well. Beth Nelson.
Sorry for the delay, the unmute. Good morning, everyone. I was fortunate enough to be part of this journey from the beginning through my involvement with Advanced Thief River. For those of you that don't know me, I am a lifelong resident of Thief River Falls, left for college, came back, and am now a residential real estate lender with Northern State Bank. Very, very excited for the relationship building aspect of Trek and looking forward to a great nurturing space for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Beth. How about you, Kelsey?
Oh, there we go. Hi. Oh, it's so good to see everybody. Gosh, I remember Michelle had mentioned, I don't know, how long ago was it? The 1 million cups, like a year or more, year and a half? And so I just remember getting excited about it, and we went to a couple meetings, or we went to a meeting in Grand Forks, and I just remember seeing like people come together and the stories being shared, and just got really excited about it. I've been a professional photographer since I moved back home back in 2005. So entrepreneurship is definitely has always been a big interest of mine. So just excited to hear stories and be able to share and be open, and it's exciting. So
it is exciting. How about you, Mike?
Hey, everybody. I'm Mike Berry. I have been self-employed business owner, entrepreneur for 36 years. Most recently, I had 28 years in the Pennington stores. Very fortunate. I'm doing this. I'm also on Advanced Thief River. I'm an advocate for small business, and I absolutely love supporting entrepreneurs, and I look forward to all the great things that are going to come out of this trek.
Perfect. We get lots and lots of knowledge out of you, Mike.
Oh, I hope so.
How about you, Michelle?
Well, as you know, I'm a consultant, and I've been working with Advanced Thief River for 2.5 years now, which has been exciting. And I've done a lot of work with business and economic development over the years. And for too long, economic development has focused on chasing what we call chasing smokestacks. Trying to get the big businesses to come. And really, I'm so excited to have this focus now with Trek to nurture, and I like to call it economic gardening. We're nurturing from within the people that are here in our area to flourish as entrepreneurs. And thankfully, our state is now finally coming around to that, and they're giving more resources toward entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, and that as an economic development focus. So that's a good thing. So I think entrepreneurs they're really the lifeblood of our community.
Couldn't agree more. How about you, Kendall?
Hey everyone, good morning. My name is Kendall. I'm a business major here at Northland, and I'm super excited to meet entrepreneurs in this area and also encourage everyone to shop small.
Perfect. John Syvertson?
Thanks, Angie. Yeah, I'm John Syvertson with Unity Bank, Commercial Relationship Manager. Actually, I was started interest a few years ago when Ashley Nerhus was the Chamber Director. I was the Chamber President. We had looked into doing a 1 million cups. We're really interested, but honestly, we needed a leader, someone like Michelle, to kind of start this and take the lead, and a group that was willing to put in the time. And I think Michelle and then our other members were the perfect ones to get this started. So I'm very happy that finally, after a couple of years of looking into it, we're getting something started here. And it's important to have the entrepreneurs in the community. And as being a commercial banker, I can be a part of that, and I also can give some assistance. And being there at the beginning of the journey, I think, is important. So,
very nice. The other person that's on our board, if you will, or on our team is Brian Carlson. He's not able to make it today, but I know that he's sad that he has to miss it. But let's start this off. Let's give away a door prize. So we're gonna have 5 door prizes. Northern State Bank was generous enough to offer us some chamber bucks. So I think they're each $10 chamber bucks, each prize. Is that correct, Beth?
Yep,
Okay. So Beth, I'm going to have you be our judge. I want everybody to hold up their coffee mug today, or their glass, or whatever they're drinking out of. And Beth, I want you to pick
Close.
best mug.
All right, I gotta hang. Ooh. Okay. This is a tough one. Okay, I'm gonna be really practical here, and I'm gonna go with Laura's because I like the lid cover because I spill coffee all over myself. So I don't know if
That's
you can
awesome. Laura, you are our first. Laura, you are our first winner. You will be able to pick that up. I think we're going to drop them off at the shed. The shed's open till 8 o'clock each night, right, Allie? Oh, Allie's on mute. She's probably
awesome. Thank you. Oh,
yes.
And by the way, Angie, I just bought 4 of those mugs from Allie, and I need to come probably pick them up. So
aren't they great?
Yes. And so, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
Beth.
you. Thank you. Let's do one more before we get started. Mike.
Yes.
We're going to play a little game of I Spy. You pick something that you see, and the first person to say what it is will win another $10.
So what
So
I
it's
see, or who's,
it'll be in the background of somebody.
all right, well, I see a wall air conditioner.
So
A
what
wall
we need
air
to do is
conditioner?
say who's got the wall air conditioner, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laura.
Who had it?
Laura has it.
Oh, see, I'm blind. I was thinking Drew had it. Drew's got something in the background. All right.
Those are pictures.
Oh,
Yep.
yes. Now that you're big, I can see that. Yes. Okay. All right. So who won that one? I didn't even pay attention.
Beth.
Beth.
Beth. All right. Good job.
Now I can get myself a mug.
Now you can go get yourself a mug at the shed. Yes. Speaking of the shed, our first presenter today is Allie Engie. Allie's trek started about 10 years ago when she purchased the shed from her husband's grandparents, and it has been evolving ever since. Even though a lot has changed from where it started 26 years ago, one thing has always remained the same. The shed has a passion for the community it serves. And I would say that Allie is probably the queen of that. So Allie, you want to tell us about your trek and your passion?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you all for inviting me to the first trek meeting and speaking. So I had started the shed probably, I think it's going to be 10 years now in the spring. I never dreamt about being a business owner, an interpreter, anything like that, because I worked at DigiKey. I had a wonderful job. I had amazing benefits, and I really loved what I did. Although, because of a major trek, I suffered a stroke 10 years ago, and I ended up not being able to do what I did before, and the doctor had told me, well, you can't go back doing this. So because of life, I actually went through a deep depression, and my husband said, why don't you open up the shed one last season with Grandma Marge? So I was in there for about 2 days, and then I realized this is my passion. Unfortunately, we had young children, and my husband said, we're a double income household. You need to get a job. And I just remember praying and saying, God, you have to decide. You have to determine where this is going to go. So after my husband said that, he said, okay, you can try it. So I had $1,000. I started this business with $1,000. And the fact of wanting to prove my doctor wrong. So he said it's not going to last forever. It's only going to be for a couple months. Well, it's evolved over time into what it is today. So a year ago, the Hanson Construction, Mark and Katie Hanson approached me and said, hey, we just bought the Elks building and we want you to move in. And I said, okay. Had no idea what that meant, but I said, okay. And I was just down at the corner, right next to Budge Electronics, where Simply Andy's is right now, but I had outgrown it. So I called my husband, I said, we're gonna move into the Elks building. And he goes, okay. Well, because, truth. So We moved in, we opened up on February 8th. Brand new store, about not quite 4 times the size as of the old store. The inventory, way, let's just say it was a little bit more than $1,000 that I started with. But I knew, I felt it in my heart where I was like, I didn't climb, this is what we've created. The night before we opened, I'm gonna probably cry because we hung up a picture of Grandma Marge and Grandpa Cy. They're the ones that started the Shed 26 years ago. And we still have in the back their first chamber dollar that they were presented 26 years ago by the Thief River Falls Chamber of Commerce on their first, I think it's the first clear dollar. My husband hung it up. He was crying and he said, I'm so proud of you. Look at what you've done. And it's definitely been a little difficult because we opened up this store. The momentum was great. The traffic was great. We were having people come from 2 or 3 hours away because of what the Shed, had turned into, and the momentum that we had created via social media and the community creating. And then COVID hit. So it has been difficult. We were closed. If you want to hear about a store that can make it during COVID, we're not quite there yet because COVID is still going on. However, we didn't climb this mountain to die on it. And we took a different approach, from the whole business standpoint. We took a different approach because we couldn't have our doors open to the public. And I remember thinking, how can I bring the Shed to people? Because they can't come into my store. They can't see how amazing my store is. They can't see what my team has created. So I need to bring the Shed to them. And we did things that maybe we'll, laugh about 10 years from now. We had children's classes, floral classes. If you were to look at it as a financial standpoint of it, a return on investment on the books, let's just say my banker and my accountant would have said, are you kidding me? But we wanted them to remember us when COVID was done. We wanted them to remember us when our doors could be open to the public again. And now, going into that, we're seeing that. It was hard at the time though. It was very difficult, being able to balance everything. And because it was looming over our head, are we gonna fail? I can't fail. I'm like, I suffered a stroke. I cannot fail. we don't know where it's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen, although we are gonna continue to do what we've did since March, actually even before March, because maybe it's COVID today, but it's gonna be something next week. You're always gonna have issues that pop up in our lives that we cannot control. We can't control the issue, we can only control how we handle it. So, and it's not Facebook official yet. It will be after this is announced. Moving into this space, we've actually outgrown it. Who would have thought? We have outgrown this space. So, then you face that issue. Okay, what are we gonna do? We don't have any more room because our community has embraced us. So we don't know when it's gonna happen because obviously things take time. We're actually knocking out this wall here. We're gonna keep this right here. But if you've been to the new Fozzie's, you're gonna know that there's an elevator. Right by the elevator, there's a door. And that's all going to be the Shed also. So we are going to have, our home decor department is going to be back there. So we're excited. And, it's, again, the whole thing is, if you watch the news, if you look at the papers, if you look at Facebook, you're going to see, why are you doing this? Why are you expanding your store? Why are you taking on more debt right now? Well, I have to believe that this is not going to last forever. So I am taking a chance and I'm hoping it works, and actually I believe that it will work because, I should probably just keep my money in the bank. I should just continue to do what I'm doing, but I can't because I have to think ahead. I have to sustain myself short term to be able to pay my bills, but also think long-term investment. So we're proud, and I'm very proud of my team. And you know what? I'm proud of every one of you here. Angie, you have just been such an inspiration. It's truth, because she knows, you know, when I talk with the struggle that I have, you know, for instance, I had a big piece of equipment break down this last week, and I was telling Angie, well, she just didn't leave and not think about it again. She sent me a message and she's like, hey, I found this. Is this going to work for you? That's really what it is. It's all about working together. And so I thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And that's exactly what this group is all about, Allie, is that we're trying to get a group together that supports each other. You know, I mean, we all have small businesses and it's easy to be competitive. But in a small town and in a small, especially in the world that we're in right now, I think it's very important, you know, like you said, that we work together and we, you know, and there's been many times even, you know, Allie has messaged me or called me and said, why aren't you doing this? Angie, put your face out there. Like, I'm not about myself. So there's many times that Allie's like, put on a live, do something. You need to get your face out there. So, you know, we support each other a lot. And, you know, I love the way Allie thinks outside the box. I see that, you know, a couple other people here have commented as well. Sarah Jacobson said, Allie, you're such an inspiration. Keep it up. Laura Brixton said, go Allie. You know, I mean, that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. We're looking for people to support each other and encourage each other, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, it's people have asked me, what is your inspiration? You know, where do you find inspiration? And, you know, yes, I'm a mom. I have a wonderful husband. I've got an amazing team. But I thought about that last night, and I find my biggest inspiration is also my biggest failure that I've ever experienced in life. Because I know where I've been, and I know I don't want to go back there. And so that really, to me, what is your inspiration? My biggest failure.
Yep.
So, and there's been some
Does anybody have any questions for Allie? Terrence, I see you're saying you don't have any cam, which is fine. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type it into the box here, and we'll see if Allie can answer it.
I have a question for Allie. Allie, if you were talking, if somebody came up to you and said, I'm thinking about starting a business, what would be, you know, the first thing you would tell them? What would be the words of wisdom you would give them?
You know, I would first ask what their passion is. What's your business? And, oh, I, you know, want to sell cars. First, I'm going to ask, is that your passion? Are you in it because you love it, or are you in it just to make money? And, you know, from there, I kind of branch off on that. And then, you know, I just say what has worked for me. And there's some things that have worked for me that don't work for other people. There's things that work for other people that don't work for me. The same time I ask, because I do get this question probably about 4 or 5 times a week from people basically all across, you know, the United States saying, hey, you know, I follow you. I want to do something. How do I do it? And then I talk about this. This is what's worked for me. I'm passionate. I've got a great support team, and I live and breathe the Shed. And that's true. I live and breathe it. I know that's not for everybody, but I just really let them know what works for me and what my passion and what is my driving force in it all. And sometimes, you know, there's time that has to be put in. I couldn't do what I do if I had 2 or 3 small children at home. I couldn't do it at this scale. So you really have to be realistic in your goals too. And, you know, maybe my goal you know, you can always expand on that goal as time goes on. Although for me, I'm lucky, you know, there's some things I couldn't do 5 or 6 years ago that I can do now because my kids are older.
Angie, I have a question.
Okay.
First of all, being in business for so many years, it's kind of the issue of employees, how to recruit, how to retain good employees. Angie, I know that you know that, and everybody knows that.
Yep.
And I just, Allie, I got a question for you. I know you got some fabulous employees there. And I look back on some notes that I kept 28 years ago, and every time I had a meeting, the number one concern was employees. Now that was 28 years ago. Moving forward, that's going to be the number one comment and problem that we're going to have moving forward. How do you recruit and retain such good employees?
You know, for me, I do have a really good team.
Yes, you do.
You know, there's actually a little bit, there's two of my team members that go to college right now. One of them is in Colorado. One of them is in Wilmer. And the thought of them leaving was so difficult for me. I made a position for them where they can work remotely still in school. That's how much they are valued and appreciated. Now, how I recruit, you know, I've never really put a posting out there saying, hey, I'm looking for people. That will be coming because, you know, I do need more staff. When they come in the door, I just have a conversation with them and I ask them if they're, you know, I don't ask them. I determine at that point if they're a kind person. Because you can treat, or you can teach anybody skills. You can have anybody run your POS system, inventory, you know, all this checklist that you have, but you can't teach kindness. And when you come into my store and you are an employee, you're actually a member of my family too, because we are a family-run business. And for me, that to me is the most important thing, that you have integrity, you're honest, and you're kind.
Perfect.
I agree.
I just comment that I think both, you know, Allie and Mike, you know, you are two people that when I go into your stores or when I talk to the people that work for you, they're proud to work for you. They like working for you. And I think that's a big part of it too.
And you know,
I think
yeah,
they have fun. I mean, there's that too, you know, they enjoy it. So I think that's a big part of retaining employees.
And you know, for me, it doesn't make a difference if you're 15 or 16 years old or if you're 80 years old. I listen to you. I value your opinion. One of our most popular lines that sell in our store right now was brought in by two 18-year-old girls. I was on vacation. They wanted this brand. They took it upon themselves to contact the brand saying, hey, we need to check with our boss, but we think that these would sell very well in your store. I came back and they said, Allie, hope you're not mad. We contacted these people. And I looked at them, I said, go for it. Well, what do you mean? And I said, go for it. I said, I trust you. I trust, you know, you want product to move here. You want people in this store. So, and now they're in charge of that line. They monitor that inventory every week and they send me a text, Allie, we need to bring more product in. I said, okay, go ahead and order it. So they are proud. And when they see their stuff that they've done, they're proud. And, you know, they're proud. We did this amazing wedding last week and it was massive. And my employees brought their moms. You know, my employees brought their moms to this venue so they could see, Mom, look what I did. And that's pretty cool.
That is cool. That is cool. Thank you so much, Allie. We do have some more questions, but we'll see how much time we have at the end. And we might wrap back around and ask you some more questions. But for right now, I want to introduce Andrea Stordahl. She is the owner and operator of Minnesota Rust, which is a decor and design shop in McIntosh. She is also the owner and operator of McIntosh Properties, a company that purchases, remodels, and rents several buildings in downtown McIntosh. Andrea's business also built around her passion for her community. So here is Andrea to tell us all about her truck.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
So my name's Andrea Stordahl, and I am not from Thief River Falls. I am not from McIntosh. I am not from northern Minnesota. But my husband is from McIntosh, Minnesota. And a little bit about us. There were two things that I told my husband when we got married, and one was, I'm not having kids and I'm not moving to McIntosh. Like, it's non-negotiable. So now we live in McIntosh with our kids. And I'll tell you a little bit how that happened. So some events occurred in our family, I think just like Allie was talking about, when you kind of hit rock bottom and you kind of just give that control up and over to God or a higher power, whatever you want to say, things just happen. And for us, the things that happened were Bryce's brother, that's my husband, Bryce Stordahl, his brother passed away when he was young. He had cancer and we just could not believe that this happened. He was in his 30s and it kind of made us reevaluate our life. And it made us question everything that was important to us at the time, which was careers and monies and social, you know, and socializing and all these different things. And so we decided that we wanted to raise a family and we wanted to come to McIntosh to be around his family. Our goal in doing that was to be supportive, and then also to work on their dairy farm. I was not going to work on their dairy farm. He was going to work on their dairy farm. I'm not a farmer. But then within that year, his father got cancer and he passed away. And so we were in McIntosh with these two little kids and no jobs, and basically kind of like, well, what are we gonna do? I mean, you can't stop moving. And Jim, which was my father-in-law, was an extension agent. He was super passionate about the community. He did so many good things, and he was such an inspiration. And so what we decided is, if we were gonna live here, we were gonna invest in this community. When we moved here, the downtown was basically abandoned on one side. They all, you know, we always had Neil's Quality Meats and More, and we had Jared's Grocery, which are awesome, and Ronnie's Barbershop, but there was nowhere to go. And so I talked to my husband and we discussed, well, what does he remember from this town? What made it special to live here? And because he always had these great memories, oh, I loved living in McIntosh, and I get here and I'm like, what? You know, this, what are we, what, why? But there was this whole past history of McIntosh, and it was a booming little community. You know, there was this awesome bakery, and people would stop by on their way to the lakes, and walking downtown was just sad. And so we decided we were going to take any resources that we had, and we were going to build a community for our kids. And we were just going to do it. And whether that is, you know, silly in retrospect, we had no plan. We were basically like, well, let's just start. So I had always been very interested in design and decor, and I had kind of built a little business. And so there was this like abandoned old Cenex building, not like a cool old building, like a nasty old drop ceiling flooded building. And I started using it for storage for stuff, because I was taking stuff to the flea market in Detroit Lakes at that point just to make some income, because we needed money. And I started putting stuff there, and people started stopping, and they were like, oh my gosh, like, this is so fun. And I'm like, awesome, people are coming to me and I'm not going to them, because that's a really hard thing to do when you have two little kids. And so I started doing shows, and I would go to Minneapolis, and I started kind of just getting a base of customers, and they started coming to McIntosh. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, and everybody told me that lived here basically in a nice, not always a nice way, but they were like, this isn't going to work here. I mean, they literally just say that to my face. Like, people have tried this. It is not going to work. Don't do this. And not because they were mean people, but because I think they've been like really hurt by all the businesses that had opened and failed, and they got their hopes up, and then they were crushed, and they wanted to see something, but they just couldn't imagine what could possibly change in the town. And it kind of takes an outsider sometimes who doesn't have all of those ties to the history of the town, maybe to reevaluate and see what the town needed in the future. So to me, it was a brand new experience. After being in that little shop for a while, we decided we were going to invest, and we purchased an old building downtown in McIntosh, which was like the worst thing technically you could do, because I moved off the highway and into town, which is like suicide. You just don't do that. But I really wanted to be in this community, and I felt kind of isolated out there, and I was getting everyone from outside, but I wasn't getting everyone from inside. So we bought the old bakery and we tore it apart, which was extremely heartbreaking for a lot of people around here, because their hopes and dreams were shattered by me. But within 3 months, we had renovated it and we had opened, and everything was going really well. People were coming from all over, and it was just crazy. And then we decided we wanted neighbors, because we were completely empty, all sides of us. It was basically just me and a meat shop. So I started calling people, friends, vendors, people that inspired me and who had connections to this town, who would feel the same way and passionate. I called Catherine Howard from Howard Soap Company, and she was moving from Greenbush back with her 5 kids. And I'm like, you've got to open a store. Like, we've got to get you in a store. And there's this building next to me, and if we remodel it, can we do it? And she's like, sure, which is crazy because the building's horrible. It was a horrible building. Like, I thought we might fall through the floor. But we didn't. And we said, you know, what can you afford? What can we do to this building as little as possible to make it structurally sound and to make it work for you? So we worked on that, and she moved in, and now it's a work and retail space. She sends her products all over the United States. She has an Etsy store, a very good following. And so she's just another asset to our town. Well, then that kind of just spiraled because we purchased her building. Then we had a city cafe that no one wanted. It was literally $1 and no one wanted it. And so we're like, okay, fine. So we bought the cafe and we were like, okay, so now we need people in this cafe. We took this big space that was extremely inefficient. We broke it back into 3 little businesses. And now we have a hair studio, a young gal who is extremely good at what she does. She has a very upscale hair salon. And then we have the Red Poppy. We convinced her to move from Boston. She's like a Boston person, to come here and to kind of just, Catherine's in here, by the way. Yeah, you're totally fine. She's next door. So Red Poppy came over here and she's like, I want a barn building. And I'm like, okay. So we just tore everything apart and we created this space for her. And then somebody ended up buying the old hardware store, someone who wasn't us, and they developed that. Now it's the Ginger Junker. And she's originally from St. Paul and moved back with her family with the man she married. And we're looking at doing a cafe. So really within the last 1.5 years, we've done a lot of different stuff. And people always ask how we did it. And I'm like, we did it completely backwards. And what we're trying to do is figure out a way to create something that we can take to other small rural communities, our size or a little bit bigger, and package for them so we can help them kind of rejuvenate their small towns. And that includes business design, because I really feel like we designed this downtown in a very, very thoughtful way. All the businesses complement each other but do not compete against each other. We share employees. We have the same retail system. So when somebody needs an employee over at Howard, they can grab one of mine. Or if I need somebody to run over really quick because I'm really busy, someone can come over to mine or Red Poppy. And we kind of share those people in order to give them enough hours. We are only open on Fridays and Saturdays. So we have all the same hours. And then we market ourselves not only individually, but we market ourselves as the Shops of McIntosh. So we are a single unit that does all our events together. We share all of our marketing costs. We promote each other's businesses. All of our events are shared to try and really create this environment where people want to come and they want to stay and they want to hang out. We have similar values, and we've really worked hard to create that experience when you come here. So the next thing on our docket is a cafe, because we have nowhere to eat. And we all know that that's very important. And a cafe is kind of like the lifeblood in a small community. So it's where everybody gathers and it keeps people engaged. And so we're working with someone right now, and we are going to be opening a cafe hopefully in February or March. That will be based on a plan that we can hopefully take other places. So that's kind of our story. I tried to make it really small, but I own Minnesota Rust. So I'm like not even an entrepreneur, really. I'm like a designer or a person who likes old stuff and kind of fell into this. So
that is amazing. I've never heard your story before. I love it. That's to take a small town like that and get it back, kind of like you said, going back to the roots and working as a team. Again, that's kind of the whole point of this trek that we started, was to figure out how can you work as a team and not not be competitive. And I think that your story is 100% exactly what we strive to have. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that Skylar Johnson had written for Allie, but I think this kind of fits for you too, is what is one thing that you know now that you wish you could have told your 23-year-old self?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Don't
I-
cut these.
I would honestly say I wish I trusted myself more when I was 23. I think I would have gone back and I would have said, you feel things in your gut, and it's not just like, oh, I really want to do that. It's like you feel them and you're being pulled in a direction and you don't want to go there because it's not a good career. It's not solid. It doesn't have insurance. And I think I would go back and say, take the chances now, because there's no better time. You don't know what the future holds, and what do you have to lose? You know, you have nothing to lose. I know people, I've got kids and I understand, you know, you need money and things like that. But when you follow what you are supposed to do and you know it in your core, things just come. And to just trust that. Because I think we're just pushed in so many different directions all the time. Like, you need to do this, you need to go to college, and you got to get that and whatever. And you got to get a job. And I think we kind of lose ourselves in that a little bit. And I think that if more people did what they knew in their heart they were supposed to do, that we would be so, you know, such a diverse culture, you know, even in this area.
I agree. Yes. Does anybody else have questions for Andrea?
To comment, it's just inspiring, and I love to hear the process, you know, and how, you know, the progression. I think both you and Allie just had such inspiring stories. I just love it, and I love the conversation. I just love everything I'm hearing. It's so good.
I agree. If we don't have any other questions, let's do some more giveaways. How's that sound? All right. So this time you're going to put in the chat box, if everybody can figure out where your chat box is. Michelle, you are going to be picking here, but everybody's going to type in what their favorite fall coffee drink is.
And the first one to get their fall coffee drink in is the winner.
Drew.
Pumpkin anything from Kelsey.
Drew said coffee too.
Oh, he said coffee, but that's that's too general, Drew. I'm sorry.
Oh, see, I'm with him. I don't like pumpkin or any of that. I just like it black. Yep, Mike.
I was gonna put Diet Coke. I suppose that wouldn't go.
We throw that right out.
I've got water in my coffee mug, so I'm kind of cheating.
One of the reasons we have all this coffee stuff for the people that are maybe a little new to this, you know, we based our trek a little bit on 1 million cups, and kind of the, you know, the old saying, you know, you have to walk a mile in someone else's shoes, really to kind of understand where they're coming from. You know, the 1 million cups concept is you have to drink 1 million cups of coffee with somebody to really have that connection and understand their perspective. So that's why we have all the coffee stuff. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So is Drew our winner?
Well, do we just want to say the first one? The first one was Drew. Yeah, he said coffee.
All right.
We'll let him slide by with just plain coffee. We'll let it slide.
So Drew, you can pick up your $10 chamber bucks. They'll be at the shed, right? Is that what we decided we were doing?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Kendall,
Yep.
Kendall's gonna draw a name just out of a hat. Just a super easy, pick a name. Let's see who else is gonna get a $10 chamber bucks. Kendall, are you there?
She's kind of frozen up there. So we might be having trouble. Can we just come back to that, Angie? And maybe do the other?
Yeah, definitely. definitely. Oh, I just lost my thing here. Hold on. Technical problems. We're going to do a trivia question. We're going to have first person to put the right answer in the chat box is going to win. If I can get up to this. Before this entrepreneur was a multi-billionaire, we all know today, he worked at McDonald's for a summer and studied their automation system. His global online marketplace uses similar models of efficiency and speed. Who is he? A, Jeff Bezos, B, Bill Gates, or C, Richard Branson?
Laura
Brixton said A. Is that correct, Michelle?
Is that Jeff Bezos?
Yep.
Yep, Laura is correct.
All
Laura
right.
wins another chamber box. She's
All right, Laura.
You know, you can pick the next. I already got 10 chamber bucks. Just pick the next person. It's the prize. I already won some, so just pick the next person. Spread the wealth.
okay. That would be Terrence. So
All
Terrence
right,
is the winner.
Terrence. Awesome.
Okay. And Kendall is
we do
having
have another
trouble with her video freezing up. So
okay. I do have another question here for Andrea, if we have time. Do we have time?
Yes, we do.
Okay, Andrea, Drew Erickson has a question. How did you make your business decision to only be open on Fridays and Saturdays? What benefits have you found from being only open those 2 days? A sense of urgency for your customers, less overhead to pay employees, etc.
All of those things. We're a small community, and we're kind of we're right on Highway 2 between Grand Forks and Bemidji. So our traffic is really during the weekends when people leave Grand Forks and they go to their cabins. We're also like an hour from Detroit Lakes, and so we see a lot of traffic from there as well. I think we're going to be expanding our hours just slightly, but yes, I think that because we all have families and we're trying to manage both things for right now, that the limited hours are, yes, good for a sense of urgency because people have to come. We also do a really good job of flipping the stores as much as possible per opening. So if you come on one Friday, it's going to look totally different the next Friday. So you kind of have to come every single time. Also, we found that at least when I was in my other location that we could either spread out the sales or we can condense the sales. And the sales were the same. So it didn't matter. And so for me, like I'm out all week doing marketing or picking or buying, doing all those other things. And then I'm focusing at store on those days. Or for instance, Howard Soap, she's making and shipping and doing all those things. So in order to manage it with ourselves at right now, it just works for us. And I think in rural communities, it's more sustainable because we don't have a lot of employees. We don't have in the week and we don't have right now. So there's nowhere for anyone.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Laura Brixton also put on here that she highly recommends the Simon Sinek TED Talk, Start With Why. And she has a link there for people to look at. And he also has related books, she says. And he says it's an excellent source of what is your why. That's great. I love TED Talks. I listen to them when I'm driving all the time. So thank you very much, Laura.
I do have the drawing if you'd like to do that now, Angie.
Okay, sure. Yeah, why don't we draw a name here?
Okay, what can I draw out of this nifty little crocheted bowl? Jana Johnson. Can you see that?
Awesome. Congratulations,
Jana, you are the winner.
Jana. Again, all of the chamber bucks this week were given to us by Northern State Bank, so we want to thank them for being our sponsor this week. Our next meeting is November 3rd. Might be online, might be in person, might be hybrid. We'll have to wait and see. We'll make that an announcement where and when our next connection will be. We are on Facebook under Advanced Thief River Falls. You can find all the information about Trek. You can also go to www.advancedthiefriver.com. That is also where you can find all of our information about Trek. We are open to ideas. We would love to hear if you have somebody that you'd want to hear speak, or if you want to be a presenter, we'd love to hear that. If you want to be part of the board, we would love to have that. Yeah, and Allie and Andrea, my gosh, amazing, amazing stories. I love it. I love hearing it. I think this was an amazing, great way to start off our trek. And I look forward to next month.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
So,